So we're Christ followers, and everywhere we go, we want to go to, especially the most famous, revered church in the area. We had to take a whole cable car up here to get to this church, and it's absolutely beautiful. On the inside, there's a stained glass depiction of the Last Supper that's super detailed, and it's kind of in its own little private praying area, which was awesome. The altar has a pretty intense depiction of Jesus struggling at the very end during his entire passion. Now that we're close to being parents, I'm going to start seeing everything through the eyes of a potential father. And when we go to these different churches around the world, there's always like a dress code, whether it's an Islamic church or it's a Christian or Catholic, whatever denomination you want to call it. There's usually like dress codes and like codes of conduct. This one was a little bit crazy. Like there's this one family where the kid was jumping up and down the pews, making a bunch of noise. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Where's his mother? And then his mom pops up and she's wearing like a crop top, like shoulders exposed. Like we're not dressed in a full suit or anything like that, but Katy made sure to wear her long dress, and I had my shoulders covered and my legs covered. There's guys just showing up in shorts. It's like, come on. This isn't just a place to get a reprieve from the sun and take a break and take a rest. Like it's a sacred sanctuary. So I just feel like you should kind of act like that. And it was kind of surprising. I'm very excited it was open because I wasn't sure what the hours were. I read on Google they're a little bit weird, but even though we were able to go in, it was a little bit disappointing the other people around. So it's just my new viewpoint that I have going forward. I saw this from the ground, or at least I thought I did, but in all the videos I've seen about being up here, I never heard one person talk about it, so it was a big surprise. But yes, on this other mountaintop area here is, I guess, their version of Christ the Redeemer. So when you get to the area where you're about to take the cable car up, you can start to see it. You can see a little bit better up here, but still not so great. We're not hungry enough for a full meal, but there was this little postre place where we can get a couple of desserts. So I have a arroz de leche, which is pretty exciting because I usually like that pretty much. Well, I like most desserts, but this is the first time I've really seen it at any of the bakeries or places we've been to. I have to go to the tourist trap place, I guess. And then Katy got a rolled caramel pastry dessert that we saw someone eating on the steps as we were walking over here. So we basically got FOMO and had to order that too.
This trip to Bogotá, Colombia has basically become our baby moon, although that's not how it started. We originally were looking for somewhere to spend the first couple weeks of the year outside of the United States, mainly because of our health insurance. So we have global health insurance through Cigna, which is fantastic. It's provided us health insurance throughout this whole pregnancy from, well, we didn't need to use it for Bulgaria and Romania because it's so affordable, but we did use it in Austria, and then we were able to use it when we got to Florida. The catch is we can only use this health insurance in the United States for 6 months because, as you all know, health insurance in the United States is quite expensive. And so we did not want to commit insurance fraud, and so we were looking for somewhere to spend the first couple weeks of the year because I would have much rather have like extra time after the baby to recover than to have time before the baby. So we're like, okay, we have to find somewhere to go, and we basically were looking for affordable flights and an affordable place to stay, which was kind of tricky because it was around New Year's Eve time, and so things weren't as cheap as we had wanted. But as we were preparing to come here, we realized, wait a second, this is going to be our last trip as just the two of us, as a couple. And so like everybody else does this trending baby moon thing, we're like, okay, let's officially call this our baby moon. Before getting to Colombia, while we were in Florida, I had a few appointments at the doctor's, and one of them was getting my glucose test, and I unfortunately didn't pass the first glucose test. So I had to take a second glucose test, which is the longer, like 3-hour one. And so the first glucose test is pretty easy. You just take this big sugary drink and they take your blood to see how your body reacts to the sugar, because your body can react to sugar differently being pregnant. And I took that first one 3-4 weeks before Christmas, and when we got the results I realized, okay, I feel like this is kind of high, like I feel this number is kind of high, and I think I'm gonna have to take the 3-hour glucose test. But the doctor never called and said that I needed to until I went back for an appointment at 28 weeks, and the doctor's like, I never saw your results, I'm so sorry, but yeah, you are gonna have to take the 3-hour glucose test, which wouldn't have been too bad of a problem, except it was around the holidays and we had already had the rest of December booked seeing different family members and friends throughout the state, and unfortunately the only availability was the day after Christmas. So we had to drive, I think 3 hours to get to the doctor's, sit there for 3 hours, take this glucose test, because they give you the big drink, and then they basically took my blood every hour for 3 hours to see how my body would react at those different levels. And then we had to just drive back to where we were. So that was kind of annoying, and again, it was around the holidays, so I had to like show so much self-discipline and self-control and not indulge in carbs and sugar to try and make sure I could pass that test. But what was really nerve-wracking was the doctor was like, listen, if you don't pass this and you can't go to Colombia because I need you to do this course, I need you to do, like, it was just, there was a next step that was going to happen, because then I'd be considered to have gestational diabetes. It was a little nerve-wracking waiting for the results, but we were walking around in Walmart buying, I think, groceries, and I got a notification on my phone that said test results. And I meant to record this, but I was just so nervous. I just wanted to hurry up and see the results. Thank goodness my results were great. My blood levels were like awesome. There was one that was a little bit high, but I guess was close to the cutoff point. Like, it wasn't super high, but everything was good. And then later on that afternoon, I got a message through the portal for the doctors and everything. And the doctor was like, hey, you're good to go. Have fun on your trip. You passed it. So that was really good, because we were gonna miss out on our baby moon, but luckily all's good and we're here. Now, we've really enjoyed our time here. We've done a lot of different things. Part of the excitement of also leaving the United States was, okay, let's do one last trip that's going to be affordable, because for the 6 months that we are going to be in the United States, it's going to be quite expensive. So we've just been enjoying walking around the city. We've checked out the downtown central area. We've seen all the artistic wall art. We've tried different foods. We've come up here to the mountaintop, and like, everything has been so affordable, and we're just really enjoying it and reveling in it, because we know when we get back to the States, things are not going to be affordable. And while I do love cooking, basically what we're going to have to do at home in order to stay within budget, we're not going to be able to eat out as much. There's just, things are going to look different. And so we're just really enjoying this time for ourselves, this last trip, just the two of us, but also just enjoying the prices of everything. A few people have like checked in on me while we've been here in Colombia, and they're like, hey, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm great. I'm in Colombia. And they're like, wait, what? You're in Colombia? Like, aren't you too late to be flying? Because at this point, we're at the end of our trip, and I'm 31 weeks. We fly back in a couple days. And I'm like, no, you're allowed to fly. Like, it's okay. Like, some airlines maybe don't want you to fly international unless you have a doctor's note. But in the United States, you can fly up until 36 weeks, no problem. And then if you're flying international, it just depends on the airline. They might require you to have a note from your doctors. But regardless, my doctor gave me the thumbs up. It was good to go. And then as soon as we get back next week, I have an appointment for my 32-week sonogram and checking on the baby. But the baby's been loving the trip too. Like, the baby's jumping around, so happy. As we are traveling, I know we don't have the baby out into the world yet, but I'm already imagining what it would look like to travel with the baby and just show the baby everything the world has to offer. So that's exciting. But yes, you are allowed to fly as long as, you know, your doctor gives you the okay. Obviously, I've only been in the States pregnant like for about 4 weeks, so we weren't out and about too much, and we didn't do like touristy things. So I don't know if this would have happened in the States. And when we were traveling in other countries, I was too small to, you know, show that I was pregnant. But here, when we got to the funicular line to buy our tickets to, actually not a funicular. I say funicular because they have a funicular option and they have a cable car option. I wanted to take the funicular option because it's less scary for me, but it was closed. So we had to take the cable car, which, mind you, it looks like a funicular and they cram you in like a funicular. So it kind of felt like a funicular anyways, but it's on a cable, so it's cable car. But when we got in line to go buy our tickets, the security person was like, "How many months are you?" And I thought, oh shoot, he's asking me that because maybe I'm not allowed to ride on it. But I told him 7 months, and he's like, "Oh, is it just the two of you?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right, come this way." And he ended up telling me like, "Yeah, the line is like an hour wait, but because you're pregnant, I'm speeding you up." And basically we paid general admission, but they gave us a fast pass, so we were able to jump ahead in line and be one of the next 2 groups to take the cable car up. So what should have been an hour wait was only an 18-minute wait, which was awesome because the line was all outside in the sun. And yes, it's cooler here, but the sun beats down on you really, really like hard. We've gotten sunburnt while we're here. So it was really nice to not have to stand in the sun for that long. And I just thought it was awesome. Like, wow, they pay attention to women that are pregnant and give them, you know, a little perk for bringing a baby into the world. I don't know, but it was really nice of them to do that, and very, very grateful. Now I wonder if we'll have to wait in line on the way down, which if we do, it's not that big a deal. It's much cooler up here, so I don't mind waiting, but it'd be nice so we can skip the line again.
We're going to enjoy our last couple of days here in Bogota, head back to the United States, and see what awaits us there.
Thank you for watching this video.
This is WITY Travels. What could possibly be next?